I'll ask the very first question, which really is just to tell us about yourself and why you're running for the Board of Education.
Okay. I'm running for board. I started my career as a high school teacher in Chicago. I was a certified teacher in Illinois, Arizona, and Colorado. I went to get my master's degree and I got certified to be a principal in Arizona. My career path was to be a principal. And I then moved into behavioral health. So I started working with at-risk kids and I started working at substance abuse treatment centers and mental health institutions. So the last 20 years I've done behavioral health. It was a much different world and it really fit what I wanted to do. I see three main priorities in the district today. I see the safety of the students, and that means their physical health, but it also means their emotional and mental health. I see fiscal responsibility as a major concern. Concern's not the right word. And then I see student achievement and accountability. My background has been in behavioral health for 25 plus years. I served as the DAC chair, budget chair, for the last three years and on the board for 5 years. And I've been a CEO for 20 years. I really work collaboratively with companies to hold people accountable. And so I felt at this point in my life and where the district was, that I would be an asset to the district, the teachers, the administrators, and the parents.
David, share your understanding of the issues surrounding the Jeffco Public Schools budget.
My understanding of the issues, I believe, is very strong. I sat with Kathleen Askelson in the cabinet for 3 consecutive years as the budget chair. And to be quite honest, I was probably pretty annoying. I really felt that it was my responsibility to understand the budget. So I read it, all 57 pages. And I read it line by line. And I run big companies. And I understand what it's like to, bottled water is $10,000. And microphones and space and office space. And so I sat with the cabinet and I said, why are you spending this on this? And why are you spending that on that? And I just explained it to me. And I really just tried to understand it. So the question is, my understanding is invasive. We're working with the district and understanding of what the budget is. So I thought I could make informed decisions to the DAC on what the budget priority should be from the perspective of what the issues the budget is being faced with. And so I could get into what the budget issues are, but that's not the question. So I like to stick to answers to the questions. So.
Number 3, how will you balance the competing interests of employee compensation versus student and school needs?
Well, I kind of zeroed in on the word competing, right? I know that, I'm sure that everyone else has too. I think that competition to me is equal competition. What I see is a budget with a 70+% of payroll. And so when I sat with my principal at my daughter's school, which was also on the school accountability committee, and we did SBB, and then when we tried to do the budget work around recommendations for the budgets, it was a very small portion what the principals face. You had 20%, okay, I can buy some bottled water, I can get an extra para, I can get some copy paper, but really 80% of my budget went to the payroll. So the gorilla in the room is the payroll. And I had a conversation around, this is a different business. I don't know, behavioral health is the same. Psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors, nurses, therapists. When I run treatment center businesses, it's the same thing. And I try to keep the number on 50 so I can at least truly have competition of what's best for the clients and what's best for the employees. I don't know if that's ever going to be possible with this kind of budget. It probably isn't. This is a top-heavy human business, teaching schools, right? But competition to me is true competition, and it is what it is. So where I would zero in on it is trying to manage the compensation arm of the budget. And I know that makes a lot of people angry because people want to make quality livings, and how do we attract and retain without quality pay? And there's other answers to that in our world. Culture, making an attractive place to work. Other things that it's not just about more money. Because I think when people say, well, let's make sure it's in the classroom, that's where that is. Let's make sure it's actually in the classroom. And that doesn't mean more teacher pay all the time. Sorry. But, I think it's a challenging question. And I would advocate with the district staff to make sure that the budgets were constantly being scrutinized.
Our question 4 for you. Describe the impact of the pandemic on Jeffco Public Schools and what you will do to ensure student learning, safety, and health.
Thanks. I mean, I think I don't need to get into what the impact is. I think you could tell me what the impact is, right? I mean, I know what the impact was to my 8th grader. I know what it was like to walk into my daughter's room at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and the blinds were closed and she was under her bed with her hoodie, with her computer saying this. And I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I'm in school." I was like, oh boy. Whoa, like that's not, I mean, the impact to me is the health of my daughter and her peers and all the students that is faced with. And for that matter, all the teachers. I worked in the world the last 15 months. It was very challenging, to use a generic term. And that impact is, again, something that you felt as strongly as I. What I would do, again, is just draw on my experience of working in mental health for the last 25 years. And how do you work in an environment that creates a culture to make the teachers feel safe, make you and the staff feel safe in an environment that you're worried about your physical health and your lives, but yet have an environment where the kids are in school, physically in school, and we allow the opportunity for them to be having an education experience that they have to have for their development, which is in person. So then we have to do all the mitigation strategies and work with public health and do all the things that need to be done to ensure that they stay in school. But I don't think it'd be fair for me to talk about the impact to a group of administrators that are doing it every day. So,
What are the major issues confronting our district regarding student achievement, and what will you do to improve them?
well, I think that when I looked at the question, I mean, I don't know if the issues confronting student achievement, it's kind of got a negative connotation. I look at positives. I look at all the positives of all the improvements, you know, the metrics of how we're looking at reading and writing and math and what is making sure that we're comparing apples to apples, right? What I see is improvement in a lot of areas. What I see is challenges that the district is faced with to ensure that grade level values are being looked at through the proper lens. I mean, the issues are what they are. We're not in school. We have budgetary challenges. We don't have buses. We don't have food workers. I mean, we have but I'll say we have serious challenges as a district that directly impact student achievement. It's not just test scores. I think that, you know, again, I'm a CEO kind of guy. I'm a visionary, big picture guy. It takes 10 things and 10 dominoes and variables that affect right down to how that 3rd grader is doing on her math test and whether she can use the computer or not. You know, all of those things matter to student achievement. It's not just test scores. And the challenges we face, we've already kind of covered. Money, mental and physical health, being in school, and for that matter, cooperation. I think we all need to be on the same page. We need to have a board that is cooperative and collaborative and working together on solutions. We have a brand new superintendent. We have a brand new leadership team and CFO. We need to support them and allow them the opportunity to do their jobs. We went out and found great people. You guys are great people. We have great staff in Jefferson County. I think we need to support them and work together on those achievements. And look at positives. I'm not going to zero in. And we do that in my business too. We spend 90% of the time on the 10% of the challenges. And I always try and put that on its head. Let's spend 90% of our time on the 90% of the things we're doing great, and then down on that. Thanks.
As a member of the school board, why should you be chosen to lead Jeffco Public Schools, and what will you do to work collaboratively with all constituents for the purpose of improving the learning experience for all students?
Thank you. When I read that, I was thinking about my experience on the DAC for the last 3 years, right? So I would say that my actions proved how I worked collaboratively. This was proof with a very diverse group of district staff, administrators, teachers, parent, and very vocal community members. For 3 consecutive years, we produced a budget recommendation to the board with no dissenting votes. The DAC has very formal parliamentary, like if somebody doesn't want to agree, they can file a formal, you know, like, now I'm having brain cramping on the word, right? They can say, we don't agree, a dissenting vote, and they can file it. 3 consecutive years, we presented strong budget recommendations, which included in 2017 school closures, with no dissenting votes. So I was able, and I'll say I because I have to for the question, we as a group were able to work collaboratively to come to strong recommendations for the board in regards to budget recommendations with 50 people in the room with very diverse backgrounds. That's an example of that. Why I would be chosen to lead Jeffco Schools, I don't know. I've devoted my life to public service. Yes, I work in a for-profit private business for the last 25 years, so I'm careful when I say that. But I work in a field where if we don't hold staff people accountable on a daily basis, people die. And that's not dramatic, that's just a fact. They hang themselves in the rooms, they go out on ID, we have to call families and tell them their kids are dead. That's my day. And that's just how I have to describe it. And so when I think of accountability and leadership, that's just what I think that I do every day. And I think I would be an asset to the board and to the superintendent because my philosophy is to hire great people and let them do their jobs and support them collaboratively, to listen to what you have to say and then make recommendations on what's important for the district and with no personal agenda.